Hi, and welcome back to FBA Profits. My name is Leland.
My name is Zuby.
Hi, Zuby.
Hi, Leland. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. Today's topic on FBA Profits is going to be how to remove negative feedback from your FBA account, right? Your products.
From your seller account.
That's right.
Feedback is very important, even though we are arbitrage sellers. I'm assuming most of our audience will be arbitrage sellers.
Yep.
But for brand sellers, it's also extremely important. But for us, as the seller feedback, if we have less than 90% positive feedback, will have a drastic impact on your ability to win the buy box. If you're going up head to head, price point is the same, but you're at 95% positive feedback, and the other sellers at 72%, you're going to get the buy box a lot longer. And so it is important to have positive feedback and to try to remove as much of the negative feedback as possible. Amazon makes it so that their algorithm actually automatically goes through and does a cursory review of any feedback. And if it falls within specific things that Amazon looks for that we're going to go over right now, they will just either cross it out or remove it if it's against their guidelines. But then there's a lot of times where the bot doesn't think that it's in violation of their guidelines, and so it's up to us as sellers to then go back in and make our case as to why Amazon should remove this negative feedback. Some of the different ways or different things that Amazon considers removable feedback. The most obvious one is if it's a product review. We're talking about a seller's feedback. The seller feedback applies specifically to you as a seller. If it's a specific product review, you can request for the feedback to be removed. Some of the more obvious ones include obscene language, promotional items. If somebody leaves a feedback on your account touting their own service, if it has personal information, whether yours or theirs, Amazon should and will remove that feedback. If it's anything that has to do with fulfillment, so if you're using FBA and the feedback has anything to do with, hey, I had my shipping, I didn't get it in time, or it was damaged during shipping, Amazon will remove it, or they will strike it through and they will say this was fulfilled by Amazon, we take responsibility for it. If it has anything to do with pricing, Amazon will strike it through or remove it because it's not a seller feedback, it's a pricing feedback. So those are some of the main ones that Amazon will review and remove those negative feedbacks. And by negative, we mean 3-star and down. So 3 stars, 2 stars, or 1-star review, you should request that to be removed if it's not automatically removed. Do you have any other ones?
In a way, and I think that's important to know too. Even a neutral set of feedback you want to get on, because that again is going to work on the same principle that your chances of buy box or having the privilege of being part of the Amazon seller program. You want to protect that. And just as anecdotally, I think Amazon does a great job of trying to create the boundaries of protecting you as a seller and give you the tools to be able to handle it. And I've seen this firsthand with our accounts that we work on. They're pretty straightforward with it. And the only thing I would say is, if you end up with negative feedback, and whether it's very specific or very general, there's sort of the same guidelines that I think we've given before in other situations, which is to be calm, don't panic, don't address the person like directly. If they left a phone number, don't call them if you know which account it is, or you have to let the system do its thing. So, but you have to be timely. You can't let it sit for too long because you'll miss that window. You sort of walk beyond the boundaries of what Amazon's trying to protect. And then you don't want to just jump in and say, let me fix that with you by offering, here's money, here's a refund, here's,
Right.
can you do, I've seen this in other platforms that I've been involved in. And, there's a way of saying, well, let me make this right for you. And it's either a discount later, or maybe what, you bought four and I'm going to give you a discount on, you get one for free. Don't do any of that.
No.
These are ways for you to dig a deeper hole in a situation that's already you can get out of. It feels like it might not be in your, you're not on the winning side quite yet, but don't overreact to it. And
Yeah,
doing those. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So I was going to say the pay for play concept does not work with Amazon.
No, and again, it for as much as they're protecting us as the seller, they're protecting the consumer too. And this platform is, we've gone on and on in other conversations talking about how well they've developed this, and it's not gonna be a free for all. And
reviews and feedback is extremely important on Amazon. Me as a customer of Amazon, as a Prime member, as somebody who goes and shops on Amazon quite a lot, I rely on reviews. I rely on seller feedback. And I go through and check to see, especially knowing what I know. Product reviews are extremely important, but so are seller. If I'm buying from anyone other than Amazon, I will go and double check to make sure that they don't have a 36% positive feedback. Because if that's the case, there's a good chance I might not receive my product. There's a good chance I might not get the right product. There's a good chance that the delivery date is missed by weeks or months. So the trust level has to be there, and it's good for both the buyer and the seller for that feedback to be positive. So it is extremely important. And to your point, Leland, the concept of offering something for a review or for positive feedback is stringently looked at, and Amazon doesn't mess around when it comes to that. They will suspend your account in a heartbeat if they ever catch you trying to do something like that. So as a seller, stay away from the all these. There are people out there that will offer you those services. We'll get you really great reviews. There's no reason for you to pay for those. There are services that will help you remove negative reviews, and those services are legit. If you are a large enough seller and you want to pay for that, you can. And all they do is exactly what we're going to go through right now, as far as how to request the removal of a negative or a neutral review. And they've just automated that process. So if you don't have the time to do it yourself, then you can go ahead and hire one of these software companies that will do it for you automatically. But don't ever pay someone to get you positive reviews or to get you positive feedback, because that is a major taboo, and a major Amazon will not mess around with something like that.
Yeah, if you want to see the physical manifestation of Swift,
yes, yes,
transgress that way within the domain, and you'll experience Swift. Yeah. So if you're listening to the podcast version of this, you'll have to bear with us, because really what we're about to demonstrate is the swiftness, carry that theme along, of being able to get the removal of third-party seller feedback, negative. And you're not going to get it edited. It's out there. It's done. The only thing you can do is have it removed. And so this would be the process. Yes.
And the key is also within 60 days. You have to be on top of these, because if it's the 60-day window is gone, then you're not going to be able to request that removal. If there's any issues with it, Amazon allows you 90 days past the time when you communicate with them. But you really want to be on top of your reviews. If you have any kind of a realistic goal of making Amazon your Amazon business something that is around long term, you definitely want to be checking your account at least on a daily basis. Whether it's through the app or through the your PC, you want to log in and check your account, check your sales, check your KPIs, and check your feedback, and check the messages that Amazon sends you, because there's a time frame and time limit to everything. So you don't want to go too long without requesting the removal of a negative feedback. Mm-hmm. And here's how you do it. The steps are fairly simple, as long as you know where to go. So you log into your Seller Central account, and on the homepage, you go over to the performance section, hover over performance, and on the drop-down menu that comes up, you click on feedback. Feedback is going to bring all of your reviews, all of the feedback on there, and then you can scroll down. You can actually filter it by 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, positive, negative. There's a bunch of different ways you can filter it, but go to all the 1 stars, the 2 stars, and the 3 stars, and you can request for each one to be removed. And the way you do that is you find the feedback that you want to have removed, and then on the right-hand side of the screen, there is an actions tab or an actions column and a drop-down menu. So if you click that drop-down menu, it gives you 2 or 3 options. Usually it's request removal and then contact the buyer. You want to click request removal. As soon as you click it, it's going to pop up a little automated message that says, these are Amazon's policies. Does this fit within Amazon's policies, or is it against Amazon's policies? Any of these policies being violated, just click yes, and then the bot will automatically review it. And if there's any keywords or text in there that fits within what they consider as not approved feedback, they will say it's in violation of our policies and we've struck it through or we've removed it. If there isn't any, then they will say that we have reviewed this and determine it's not in violation of our policies and we have retained it. If you want, that doesn't mean that it's game's over, that you now have to accept that negative feedback. If you know that the feedback is that it does violate one of these policies or one of these metrics that we talked about earlier, then you can reopen that case. Right on that message, it says click to reopen the case, and then it takes you to a different page, and you request help and can go ahead and reopen the case, and it pops up a little window where you can type in your reasoning as to why you think it's this feedback should be removed. And this is where a live human being is going to look at it. So you don't want to go into too much fluff. You want to be very precise, succinct, and very short, as short as possible, while making your case that this is in violation of the Amazon policy because it only discusses price. It's in violation because it talks about them receiving this color, but the listing itself says that it's assorted colors. So there's no way for us to be able to offer a specific color because that's not the listing. So these are some of the things that the bot might not pick up, but once you submit it, the human being is going to look at it. They're going to match it to the listing and say, well, you know what, this is right. This is the listing says it's assorted. There's no way that the seller can determine which color the buyer is going to get. So then they will send you an email that, hey, we reviewed it and we have struck it through, or we've removed that feedback. So just because the bot tells you that they're going to keep the negative feedback doesn't mean that you should give up. Always proceed to sending it to a human being. And if you get a response that says, we reviewed it and it's not, then that's when you can say, okay, I now have one negative review or negative feedback on my account. But don't just give up because the bot says that they're going to keep it.
Yeah, the first answer is never the final one. And I would even extend that out to being gated or ungated as being one that's freaked out at times when something gets chomped down on and you're like, it's over. And you appeal and they say no. And then you're like, well, but you're right. You got to fight a little bit harder. And in this case, click a few more buttons and good things.
But you have to have a case, you
of course.
You can't just say, well, I don't, it talks about how I sent them a broken glass, but it wasn't broken. That just doesn't that doesn't fly. You have to have a good reasoning behind it, but you never give up, and that's definitely not for gating issues, if they're gonna, majority of ungating applications will come back with some kind of a denial, where they'll say, hey, the pictures didn't match, or the pictures weren't clear, or the invoice didn't fit our guidelines, or whatever. Then you just go and fix the issues that they ask you to fix. But the feedback is, it's very automated. So for the most part, I'd say 95% of your feedback removal will be automated. Maybe 3 to 5% of them is going to be where you might need to reopen the case. The main point behind this discussion is that you should, one, be very aware of your feedback. You want to make sure that not just your lifetime feedback is important, but 12-month percentage feedback is what shows on your seller account. But then the total number of feedbacks shows under the same process. I don't know why Amazon does it this way, but that's what they do. So it's important for you to be above 90%. So always take a negative feedback or even a neutral feedback very seriously, and try to get it removed as much as possible. And then also don't give up. If it doesn't remove it right away, then open a case with seller support and get them to review it for you. And if you get a negative feedback that the seller support team, that the bot doesn't remove and the seller support team doesn't remove, then it might behoove you just to put a note on that feedback. You can respond to a negative feedback or a positive feedback through Amazon's platform. So then you just respond saying, hey, look, we're sorry. We understand that this was an inconvenience and an issue, and here is what we're going to do to fix it for you. You don't ask for them to remove the negative feedback, but mention it publicly on a public post, so that if anybody is reviewing your seller profile, they will see that, hey, this seller is actually, when nobody's perfect, but when they did do something wrong, or there was a mistake made with an order that they were responsible for, they took responsibility for it and they took steps to fix it. So that it goes back to the whole issue of building trust and building credibility. If you can't remove it, then go back and put some kind of a note on there, apologizing and saying, all right, here's what we have done. We've refunded you, or we've confirmed that you've gotten a refund, or whatever it might be, to where you can satisfy that customer. Hopefully they'll come back and fix it and change that negative feedback, but you never ask for that.
Yeah, and you took the last point that I actually buried in being timely, which is apologize. And I'm always shocked in seeing reviews, whether it's on Amazon or somewhere else, and the feedback part of it, the responses from business owners or even resellers. This is not the place to be defensive. And it's like being in a very busy store with a lot of people standing and watching, but this is almost unimaginable how many people see it. So you want to be on your best behavior, and this is the business we're in. So sometimes you have to, client's always right, customer's always right. You say sorry, maybe you even have to say they're right, and then move on. So super valid point. Remember, everybody's watching for that moment, and then any other time they decide to go and look at that bit of feedback, which could be thousands.
For as long as you're a seller on Amazon, that will stick with you. So definitely.
Agreed.
Definitely.
All right. Anything else on removing negative feedback, sir?
No, nothing else for that. There's a link if you guys want to read something really funny. I think it's Haribo gummy bears. Their reviews. Just Google Haribo gummy bear reviews, funny review, and you will run into this one product that apparently it causes diarrhea. Gummy bears that cause diarrhea. And some of these reviews about people who got caught like in the middle of an airplane, they ate a few of them, and how they, or in the middle of a work presentation. It will make your day. If you go on our Facebook page, I actually, I think a month or two ago, I added the link to that review page. It's a great little timeout. Just sit there and read some of these reviews, and if you don't chuckle, then I'll get you some free gummy bears.
What an offer. That's customer support for you right there. All right. Thanks, Zuby.
All right. Thank you, buddy.